Atomic Habits is lying to you. See, Atomic Habits might help other people, but it simply doesn't work for people like us. You have probably heard this 100 times that just build small habits and the consistency will take care of itself. And I've read the Atomic Habits book as well. Not once, but 3 times actually. And it just simply didn't help me. And see, here's the thing that no one tells about habits don't work if you keep breaking this one rule that your brain actually cares about. So, what is this rule? And I realized I was breaking this rule because I was drowning in half finished projects and I kept jumping from project to project without ever being able to actually stick to anything. I even used to have a Notion template with a habit tracker where I used to track things like waking up on time, sleeping on time, doing my Duolingo, creating content, editing, doing laundry, and doing all these things. And end of the day, I was not able to stick to none of these habits. It would work for 2 weeks. And then after that, I would miss one day and it would just start a downward spiral where I would just quit tracking altogether. And my brain simply told me, well, we have quit, we are a failure, so might as well just quit altogether. Does this sound familiar to you as well? And here's what I learned the hard way. From being someone who used to constantly keep jumping from projects to projects and not being able to consistently stick to any single thing and overthinking every single decision, to actually being able to consistently build not one but 2 successful YouTube channels, start a portrait photography business, and all this within a span of 2 years, I can tell you this one thing that actually helped me is stay consistent. So here's what I actually learned the hard way. Habits don't fail because they are too small or it's so hard to build habits. They actually fail because the way you relate to those habits is still quite perfectionistic. And it is a form of self-sabotage. It's because deep down you're still looking at those habits as a test that you can fail and not like a momentum that you are slowly building. And I want you to really sit with this thought for a second here. So, the first time you stumble and miss one day, you actually see it as a reflection of who you are, and you see it as an excuse to hate on yourself and actually quit it altogether. So, what's my secret toolkit in order to actually stay consistent and build strong habits? I want you to think of the areas of your life where you're already showing up consistently without needing to track those habits. See, you already have dinner every day without actually skipping it. And maybe you have a best friend that if you don't hear from them for 1-2 weeks, you remember to call them back without needing to set a reminder, right? And maybe you love playing video games and you're able to consistently play video games without actually needing a reminder to do so. And that's precisely the energy that I want you to bring to your creative habits. See, if you want to create a YouTube channel and if you have a skill that you want to show to people, you need to really start from a place of having realistic standards and not even thinking about a yardstick or creating this perfect plan that you need in order to put yourself out there. So, what do I mean by that? See, if you want to create YouTube videos, instead of trying to watch a lot of the YouTubers, reading comments on Reddit, and trying to create this elaborate plan of what kind of titles you're going to create, what you're going to speak in those videos, when you're going to post, when you're going to record, I simply want you to just think of one thing at a time and take the action without even anticipating or planning when you're going to do the next thing. What this will do is this will give you enough time to actually digest the action that you have taken and then give you enough time to recharge and actually feel the creative juices again to think about creating the other video. See, if you're like me and the traditional habit building advice has not worked for you, there's a good reason for that. And the reason is actually just being too perfectionistic and seeing an excuse to quit and seeing yourself as a failure. So if you already know that, then you know traditional advice is not going to work for you. So I want you to just focus on your creative energy, see the days that you're feeling creative, and see the kind of inspiration that you feel on any particular day. And then start there and create at least your first video and post it without putting too much pressure on yourself to create this perfect content strategy, because that kind of advice simply doesn't work for people like us. And I'm telling you this because I notice these self-sabotage patterns all the time from beginner creators to also advanced creators who have been creating content for over 5 years now. Yesterday, I went on a hike with a friend, and this friend has over 90,000 followers on TikTok, where he reviews backpacks. And although he's a really consistent person and he posts one reel every single day, we were having conversation in the car and he told me that even he feels that he's not trying hard enough in order to stay consistent. And I asked him, "What do you mean by that? You post a reel almost every single day." And he confessed to me that even on the days where he takes a small break to go for a hike because he's feeling like he's on the verge of a burnout, he still cannot shake the idea and stop thinking about creating a reel. And he's almost always hard on himself that he should have been creating content and he does not deserve rest, because taking rest actually means that he's simply not trying hard enough. And that's what perfectionist habits do. If you have been a chronic procrastinator and an overthinker, then unless you fix this internal self sabotage patterns, even if you start creating content, you will still be seeing as things like a day of rest as actually you being a failure instead of it being a thing that actually keeps you going. So if the habits have not made you consistent, do this next time that you actually want to do something. Forget the streak, forget the daily reminders, forget the perfect content system, forget the plan. Just think of one small action that you can take that same day and let that be enough. And also give yourself credit for that, because winning and staying consistent is actually not this flawless perfect chain because we are only humans. It's simply sometimes about holding the rope in your hand instead of constantly pushing it. And as long as you don't drop that rope, it's good enough. See, if you judge yourself against this temptation of going too fast and you eventually quit, then that's actually a worse thing than actually just taking small actions when you feel like it and still making constant progress. And if this resonates with you and you feel you need help with someone actually decoding the story that you tell yourself every single day, that's actually preventing you from staying consistent and going after the life that you want through creating content, then there's a link in the bio where you can choose to work with me. But either ways, I just want you to remember that you can stay consistent the moment you start seeing it as a test that you can fail. Subscribe to my channel and I'll see you in the next one.